Welcome back to the Horse Racing Network with me, Izzy Phillips, and thank you for continuing to join us on our marathon of Punchestown previews. We've made it all the way to day 4, and I am, as always, joined by racing broadcaster and journalist Paul Auster. Paul, I mean, if you've made it to day 4, I think you're doing well, whether you're up or down at this stage.
Yeah, but it's worth making it to day 4, isn't it? Because I
Oh,
think
yes.
we've probably got one of the races of the meeting on day 4, so something serious to look forward to.
Absolutely. I think probably arguably the biggest interest of the whole week, the talking point, the thing that no one ever stops talking about. But before we get to that, because we all know what it is, we're going to have a look at the 6:05, which is the Alana Holmes Champion Novice Hurdle. It is another one of those grade ones. We're just littered with them this week. And interestingly here, Paul, a couple of, I think, really good Mullins runners. You've got Bellocchio, who won at Royal Ascot, and you've also got Final Demand in here, who doesn't appear to have other entries on the card. So two kind of, I would say, Mullins like hot pots. A couple double entries. You've got the likes of Copet de Boards in here, but very much looks like he's going to go on day 1. And a couple of other interesting entries like Joystick for the Rich Ritchie team and Lovely Hurling for McManus. So anyone in here take your eye?
Yeah, I think Willie might get beat this time.
Ooh.
I think that the Yellow Clay, if it runs, obviously, Gordon Elliott's runner, it was only just beaten by the New Lion at the Cheltenham Festival, and it's had over 7 weeks to recover from that. It hasn't gone to Aintree and is going to be hopefully freshened up. And we saw how distraught Gordon Elliott was at Cheltenham, that it took him until the very last race to get a win with Woodhoo. And
Yes.
I think it was one horse he thought would win, the Yellow Clay. It finished ahead of Willie's runner, Final Demand, who takes it on again. And I
Yes.
think that the Yellow Clay can confirm the form. I think the betting is probably going to favour Final Demand just because of the Willie Mullins factor. But for me, the Yellow Clay, if he's over the exertions from Cheltenham, I think he's going to go well. Also, Tripoli Flyer didn't run its race at Aintree, Fergal O'Brien's runner.
No.
He's a really decent horse, and if he does make the trip over, it's another one of Fergal's that might run into the frame. But I'd take the Yellow Clay to beat Final Demand with Bellocchio and Tripoli Flyer chasing them.
Yeah, I'd like to think that Bellocchio can make a little bit of his flat speed here. I know obviously he has had a couple of goes over hurdles and hasn't sort of quite got the job done, and this does look a tougher ask, I think, for him here. And I would agree with you when you look at that race with the Yellow Clay, the New Line, Final Demand turning for home at the festival. It was one of the few races where the market got it right and the leaders were all up there, all really fighting in the finish, and Final Demand did just fall away a little bit, didn't he? And the Yellow Clay and the New Line went on. So like you say, you could find that the Yellow Clay goes off a good price, especially if the Mullins bandwagon is fully rolling by that point and he's had a few winners. I would certainly agree. So yes, I think we're agreed on that one.
I think we are, surprisingly. Yeah,
How are we going to get on in the next one though, Paul? Because
let's see.
this is the 6:40, which is the Boodles Champion Hurdle, the one we've all been waiting for. We've got Constitution Hill going here, and fair play, Nikki Henderson. I love it. Come on, let's see these horses run. They're our favourite horses. You've also got in here State Man, Brighter Days Ahead, good old Golden Ace as well, Jeremy Scott. He never lies down. And then you've got some others in here as well, like Absurd, who absurdly won again not that long ago. And you've also got the likes of Cargizi, even Break My Soul. A few in here that obviously you'd like to say that there's a few at the top of the market, like your Constitution Hill and your State Man. But the reality is we've seen how it can all go wrong in these hurdle races. So I we went to Lambourne Open Day, and that's a video you will be able to see on our channel. But I also spoke to stable lad Jaden Lee, and I asked him about Constitution Hill. I did ask him if he'd had a little bit of a word, because I think we're all getting a bit frustrated. And he did say he'd had many, but the Constitution Hill obviously does what Constitution Hill wants. And I saw this week, Paul, that he's been schooling actually over fences, and we're not to read too much into that. But it was actually done in order to kind of get him ready and prepped, and perhaps get him respecting an obstacle a little more. But Jaden Lee did admit that and he said this, for the first time ever, I'm nervous, which worries me a little bit. But I would be lying if I didn't say, I want Constitution Hill to roar and pull one back here and kind of prove all the doubters wrong.
Well, it would be great for racing if he comes back and puts in some sort of outstanding performance, which we know he's capable of.
Yeah.
The fact is, though, he hasn't delivered in his last 2 races at Cheltenham and Aintree. He's come across her. And of course, Nico de Bonville isn't going to be on board because, unfortunately, he's sidelined, having been injured last week. So James Bowen is going to take over. He's a great rider. No problems there. But I don't know. He's clear on the figures. If you're a figures follower, then he's the horse to beat. But Stateman had the champion hurdler at his mercy in the absence of Constitution Hill, only to come down. Is he going to bounce back? For me, with question marks here and there.
He's had a bigger break, hasn't he, Stateman? And it's one thing.
Yes.
He's technically fresher legs.
Yeah, he has. But if you remember earlier in the season at Punchestown, Stateman was beaten by Brighter Days Ahead. And Brighter Days Ahead also is a horse who, on her day, she is brilliant. And she didn't turn up at Cheltenham. She just didn't win the race. She was badly hampered by the falls late on in the race. I know that Gordon Elliott was just completely desolate at what happened there. I think this could be her chance to spring a surprise. And I think Constitution Hill, if he's not quite on his game once again, he could be there for the taking. And I'd fancy Brighter Days Ahead to finish ahead of State Man, let's put it that way. And I think the value is there for her to spring a big surprise and beat the 2 former champion hurdlers.
Absolutely. I think that what we've seen from Golden Ace, and I know it's difficult because you're talking about horses coming down, but
yeah,
equally, that's the name of the game. We've got to jump. She could, she's quite a nice price currently. You can get around 10-1 best price on her. Considering, she can stand her ground. She has got good form. If this all goes wrong again, she is there again to pick up the spoils. So I wouldn't write her out of this. I don't think she's completely fluky. And I do just have worries about the reliability of the others at the top of the market.
Yeah, well, Golden Ace, she's probably one of the lowest rated champion hurdlers for a very long time. Let's be honest, it was a freak race where all the rivals either ran badly or fell over. I mean, when did you last have 2 champion hurdlers fall over in one race? I mean, it's on her. I can't remember it, and I can go back quite a long way, believe me. So I think that it was her day. It was her day of glory. I think she'll run a good race. I think she'll be there on the home turn, and she'll be pressing going down to the last. But I don't think she'll be good enough. I think Brighter Days Ahead might be good enough.
Because of all the uncertainty, though, Paul, around a few of these runners, like not turning up or potentially falling, they're all quite a reasonable price. And what you could have a little bit of fun with here, just in terms of the interest, because I personally find it quite hard. Like, I think, I'll go with Constitution Hill, but then I think, but what if Golden Ace wins? Or I kind of find myself flip-flopping between old favourites here. And I sort of think, well, maybe I could pick a tri-cast out or a four-cast out, because I think there's so many in with a bit of a chance that if you did it reversed, you could sort of try and have a little bit of fun that way. And they're all quite a reasonable they're not a bad price. So you could end up here with, if you call this correctly, essentially the best bragging rights that you've ever had, because calling, champion hurdles has now become one of the most difficult things to do.
Well, this year's been, I mean, it's been extraordinary what's happened in the 2 mile hurdles division, because one after another of great horses have found ways to get beat and fall over. And who knows? I mean, we could be in for another shock. It would be brilliant to see Constitution Hill, State Man, Brighter Days Ahead, Golden Ace, all of them coming there at the last, all of them managing to get over the last without falling over, and then seeing who's best. But I think the most
Yes.
important thing is that they come back safely, because these top horses keep taking falls, and it's a risky game, and we don't want to see it happening anymore. At this level, these horses shouldn't be falling. These are some of the normally most accurate fast jumping horses you could ever wish to see. And somehow it's all gone wrong in the last few races. So I just hope they all come back safely. I hope it's a really good race. I wouldn't be backing Constitution Hill at 5-4. I won't be backing State Man at 13-8. But as I said, I think Brighter Days Ahead might be the value. We'll see. Let's hope it's a great race.
Do you want to know what I just have a little sneaking suspicion of, Paul?
Go on.
I could see what you're saying, like we're going to turn for home, and I bet I'd love it that they're all there pitching. You've got Golden Ace and Brighter Days Ahead, State Man, Constitution Hill, and then somewhere back in the distance, like a speck, getting closer and closer and closer and closer, you just see Absurd.
Now that is out. Yeah. No, I mean, who knows? Or Cargese, if she turns up.
I know, but it's just, that's the sort of thing that
That's the type of season it's been.
it
Really,
is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It would be absolutely absurd, and I think we'd all be going wild. But I would be lying if I said I'm not going to have a couple of pound just each way saver at 16s and just hope and pray that it can reel them in. But a very exciting race, and I think a very exciting way to end our Day 4 Punchestown preview. That is all we have time for. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the 5th and final day of our Punchestown Festival preview.